One Piece, Christopher R. Sabat, behind the scenes.
How's it going? This is Mike McFarland, the ADR director and line producer of One Piece, and today we are here with yet another Straw Hat. For those watching, who are you, sir? And who do you play?
I'm actually a black hat, not a straw hat.
Oh,
so
my bad.
Let's just be clear about that. I'm Chris Sabat, and I play Zoro.
What are your thoughts on Zoro? What do you think of him as a character?
I always liked Zoro from the very, very beginning. Back in the very earliest of days when Funimation wasn't even sure if they were going to get this show or not, I saw an early cut of it, and I love that character. Now, granted, I always like characters that have swords and or muscles, so yeah, I'm instantly drawn to playing characters like that.
Do you remember the initial round of auditions and the casting process and that earliest points of us were working on the show?
Well, you and I remember probably a different kind of a casting process than other people because we were involved in some like preliminary tests for the One Piece series.
Right.
But I remember there was a time when Funimation was testing to see where they wanted to do it, and they actually had a completely different cast. At that point, I was playing Helmeppo, and somebody else was playing Zoro, and I wanted to kill them. Not the director, but the person who was playing it, because I figured if I killed him, I'd be next in line.
Decide to rejoin us then?
Watch out!
Be careful, Captain! Huh? What's wrong? His head!
What about the rounds of recording initially when we were working on getting the show to Cartoon Network? We had the broadcast deadlines to meet, and it was myself and two other directors that were all working on the show at the same time. That was how we were thrown into One Piece.
Yeah, that was. I'll be honest. That was a bit of a confusing time because we were having to race so fast to get it done, and all three of you had slightly different ideas as to how broad the show was supposed to be and kind of what the idea of the show was to be.
It was my job to rein it in,
yeah,
and make it all focused.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's always hard when a show gets split up between people because naturally people have subtly different ways of what they want of handling things and what they want to hear. But yeah, it was pretty rapid fire then, and I remember we were starting pretty far into the series from what we originally we didn't start from episode 1. We started way
we started from where the current broadcast had ended, and we were picking up at the very next episode, which was in the 140s.
Yeah, that was so confusing. That was like jumping into like the third movie of Lord of the Rings without ever reading the books and going, all right, so here we are. Let me try and explain to you all this stuff that may or may not have happened.
There's this ring, see?
Yeah, yeah. It was really confusing at the start, but the good thing about the show is that it is really consistent. And what I like now about the show is that it's in a completely different place. It's still very consistent character-wise, but it's just in such a nice, dark place, a place where it hasn't been before.
It is in a dark place. The animation style has slightly changed. You can watch season to season and see how they've much like when you're watching The Simpsons or something, and see how they've honed in and given everyone a slightly different look, and not just like the clothes that they wear. Like the
they're
character
a little
designs are
lankier now and like cooler looking.
And it's one of the few shows where that we were working on anyway, where you actually see characters physically grow older and bigger.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Zoro, he seems to get lankier, but I'm having a hard time remembering if he's even changed that much physically, other than some nice stitches across his chest.
Chest is bigger. For sure.
Yeah, he's been working out a lot.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about some internal growth. How do you feel Zoro has grown as a character since the beginning of the show versus where he is now?
Well, the beginning of the show, Zoro's relationship with everyone else didn't feel like he really cared about anybody else at first.
He was the pirate hunter.
Yeah, he was the lone wolf then, and his job at the beginning was basically to point out how ridiculous Luffy was at every moment. But now it seems that whilst ridiculous stuff still happens, Zoro's really a big fan of the camaraderie that they have. He likes to try and keep the group together. He supports Luffy. That's one thing that I find interesting about the show too. No matter how ridiculous it might get, they still know that Luffy is the captain of the ship, and Zoro respects that. And he, even though it might be a weird decision, he'll go, "He's our captain. We gotta do what he does."
All right, men, let's go. We only get one shot. Set your sights on T-Bone. You ready?
Yeah!
This way. You go over there.
Hold on!
What? We don't have time to hold on. He's gonna cut Rocket Man in half.
Jeez, there's nothing to worry about. Zoro's got this. Just watch.
They must be Nico Robin's crewmates. In that case, that swordsman is the pirate hunter. I am a proud captain of the Navy. I shall not let you pass. Be it wood or steel, I'll slash your ship in two.
Good luck with that one. We won't stop until we reach our goal. And I'll cut down anything in our way.
I was reminded of that during the Foxy episodes where they were they're playing those games where if they lost, they had to join the other crew. And man, they're pretty serious about it. Like they took it very seriously. If like you were going over there, then boom, that was it.
Mm-hmm.
But it shows how much respect you actually do have to have for your captain. It's interesting that they have that. Anyway, Zoro seems to be growing up a little bit. He's definitely maturing, and he feels like an older character to me. They're relying less on goofiness and more on genuine conversation and some serious kind of content to take over now.
Besides Zoro, obviously, who is your favorite Straw Hat?
Wow, I don't know if I like any other Straw Hat besides Zoro. No, God, that's hard to say. Okay, no, it's not hard to say. It's hard to say anyone but Chopper. Chopper is hands down my favorite character.
Why is that?
He's so goofy, and he's such a ridiculous-looking character. You look at him for 1 second, and he's just funny-looking to me. He doesn't even have to say anything. And Chopper is always so... he means well, but he always screws something up really badly.
Chopper! Hey! Wait for me!
I'm close.
Chopper! Wait up! What's going on, damn it?
This way.
Hey, Chopper! Chopper! Are you all right?
Who's your favorite villain in the show so far?
We, admittedly, at the pace that we went through the first several seasons, it's hard for me to get to know the villains because a lot of the time Zoro doesn't really have a ton of interaction with the villain. He's half the time asleep on the ship and then shows up to fight one of the villain's underbosses, you know, when it goes into those moments of the series where they all break up into their individual fights. But the funniest one I've heard as of late, I don't know if it's just because it's the most recent one I've heard or it's just ridiculous, is in the most recent saga. What is his name?
Don't tell me you've never seen this face before.
Yeah, Foxy. That's
Foxy.
what it is. That character is funny. That is a funny man.
He's ridiculous.
Yeah, all those games were funny. Like the Foxy games were hysterical. I like the Eric, the guy who plays. Well, you know him. Eric and I have been trying to figure out a way to play that game where you stick a ball on your head and then someone
Throw
else,
the other person through it.
Yeah, so someone else through a basket. But we haven't really gotten around to it yet.
I will now explain the rules of the groggy ring. We have a playing field, and we have 2 goals. Knock the ball into the goal, and you win. However, the ball isn't actually a ball. The balls are people. Both teams must select someone to be the ball. Make your selection.
You heard him. Which one of you 2 guys is going to be the ball?
Ball marker.
Who said you get to pick? You're the ball, you moss-headed bastard!
What are some of the challenges you face playing Zoro, both emotionally and physically?
The hard part about playing Zoro, and you're really good about keeping me in check on this, is that it's very easy to just kind of want to play Zoro as this dark, brooding guy all the time. And even when you listen to the Japanese voice when we're previewing, a lot of time that guy's just always like really, really to himself. And I don't know if it's just culturally it's a different thing or they have a different sensibility, but to keep him in a low, quiet voice all the time would just make him boring. And you're really good at making sure that he stays fun and you can hear him, you know? Otherwise, he'd just be kind of quiet and one-dimensional all the time. But you're really good at pulling out the, hey, well, there's a lot of stuff going on right now. You probably should call this out a little bit more. Or, and there are moments where, even though Zoro is always the guy who doesn't want to participate, there's always those group moments where they're group moments of, let's do it, or whatever. And having to repeat those when we get to those sections, like, for whatever reason, maybe because I always show up late or something, I end up coming at the end of your production cycle. So you usually play you have to play that moment and then have me repeat it. So it'll usually be like, let's get going, or whatever. And having Zoro read those moments is always so weird. Trying to, like, how can I find a way that Zoro might sound super enthusiastic when he's not really that enthusiastic of a guy. Those are the challenging parts of playing Zoro.
Anything else you'd like to tell the One Piece fans out there?
Guys, thank you so much for watching this. I'm sorry that I was so tired. If I see you in person, I promise I'll high-five you and I'll make up for it. Try to do your best in everything and don't get lost. That's what Zoro would say. And that's it. I don't know. It feels really awkward because the fans aren't talking to me right now. They're kind of ignoring me.
They're watching.
See, they won't say anything. Sorry.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Take care.
掴みかけた夢のかけら変わらないものを追ってる僕らは憧れを空に浮かべて